Hello everyone, I hope you guys are all having a fabulous Monday. Today I'm coming at you with our weekly Minks Monday Q&A. But before I continue, I wanted to let you guys know of a little discussion that I had with another YouTuber the other day. She is a big fan of Minks Monday Q&A, which is pretty awesome. And she said that she also she likes to show some types of pictures on her channel. And she said that she had a comment about copyright infringement. And pretty much, if the pictures are not things that I take myself, I'd rather be safe than sorry. So I will no longer be showing pictures from Google Images or from the Louis Vuitton website as I would normally do. Because, as I said before, I'd rather be safe than sorry. I would never want to step on anyone's toes. And even though I put a disclaimer on all the videos, I absolutely love doing Minks Monday. And they're some of my absolute favorite videos, and I would like to continue to do them as long as I possibly can. So for that reason, I will have to refrain from doing that. But I just thought I would let you guys know, and thank goodness that I had that conversation with her. Otherwise, who knows how long these Minks Mondays would have lasted. But nonetheless, it's still a good thing, right? It's still a positive thing. It's not going to be the same really being able to go into detail and show you guys what it is that I'm talking about. So I guess we're back to old Minks Mondays, where if you would like to, you can pause the video to see what it is that I'm talking about. But I apologize, you guys. I would love to continue to do that. So I'm gonna do my homework, and I'm gonna investigate to see what I can do. Otherwise, like I said, we're back to old Minks Mondays. But without further ado, let's continue with the very first question from Trina Levers. Do you know anything about the Givenchy Antigona, if it holds its value at all? And yes, it does. The Givenchy Antigona retails for $24.50 here in the States, if I'm not mistaken. And when I looked it up on a few different online consignment shops, I saw that the lowest price was $2,000. And it ranged anywhere from $2,000 to $2,200. So the fact that it's only a few $100s less than what the original purchase price is, I think that is great. So yes, it definitely holds its value. It is a beautiful bag, and it is in high demand, especially if you go into the Givenchy store. It's almost impossible to find some of these bags. But I say go for it, Trina, if you're thinking about it, because the silhouette of the bag is beautiful. So yes, it holds its value. Okay, Dominique Angelo. Recently watched your Chanel espadrilles video and said you had an essay help you track them down. Did they offer to try and find them for you? And yes, they did. Both places, which was Nordstrom and Saks Fifth Avenue. The essays were extremely helpful. They went above and beyond customer service, in my opinion, because even though I think on one of them I didn't find, was it one of them? One of them I didn't find the shoes in store. She actually scoured all of the, she went on the computer and she saw if anybody in the U.S. had it, and she did. And she said that I will try to find them for you, and if they do, I will have them shipped to the store or to your house. And she was able to do that. And even though I returned them, like I said, the customer service was great. And the fact that these sales associates went above and beyond, as I said before, really speaks volumes of the company that they're working for, that they are willing to go that extra mile to help the customers. I thought that was great. So yes, they did. Very, very great customer service. Black Dragon 482. You've talked about new versus old Speedy, but I haven't been able to find any formal info about all the differences. Could you possibly answer where you got the info and go over the differences? When one of my all-time favorite sales associates, Pedro, worked for Louis Vuitton, he actually told me when, I think it was months before the Speedy came out, he told me about it, and he told me about a few differences. But when I really got to hold the item in my hands, I knew right off the bat what the differences were. And let me just show you guys. So first and foremost, these tabs right here, they're a little bit puffier and they're a little bit more quilted. Not only that, they are reinforced, because obviously you guys know that the Speedy, you can fill it to the brim. You can fit so much in here. And because you only have the two handles on the top, and if depending upon how much you fit in here, it tends to get very, very heavy. So they reinforced the tab here. Plus, as I said before, they made it a little puffier. The handles are a little bit thicker. When you hold this, which is the classic Speedy, not the bandolier, and you hold the new Speedy, you can really feel the difference. They just feel a lot thicker. Also, the zipper pull right here. If you ever go on any consignment shop, online consignment shop, or if you go on eBay, if you look at Speedies and their prices, 99% of the time, some of the things that is wrong with the bags is the fact that the zipper pull is either missing or it's extremely loose. So what they did is they reinforced this as well. They made the tab a lot thicker. And do you see how on the bottom you can really take a look at the grains of the leather? They don't have that anymore. It is all just pretty much, see how shiny it is on the top? That's how it is on the bottom. And another thing that they did is, again, because they were having a lot of complaints that this tends to get really loose where the lock hangs, if you hang the lock on its, on its little hole right here, they reinforced this as well. So this is a lot thicker. Another thing that they did is the fact that they reinforced the lining here. So that's another thing that people were having problems with in the past. Depending upon how much you used it or how you used it, the piping along the sides tends to kind of pop out, or it comes out, and you have to get the lining or the piping redone. So they reinforce the piping along the sides. Another thing that I noticed on this beautiful bag is the fact that the canvas feels so much thicker. Not thicker to the point where it's ridiculously uncomfortable. I'm talking where you can feel the quality, because there was a time a few years ago when Louis Vuitton started making, their bags came out, and I will be the first one to admit it, the quality was just not there. I felt that the material was really, really flimsy, and I kind of questioned it, but I really felt that the new ones, you can feel how thick the canvas is, and that really makes me happy because that means that they're really listening to us, and, even though we're still loyal to the label, we have our complaints. So the fact that they listen is fabulous. Not only that, I did notice that, I don't know, they didn't do anything. They didn't add a base shaper or anything like that, but it seemed to hold its shape a little bit better. So that is what I had noticed. Not only that, when you get the new Speedy, you can see on the tab, it says Speedy NM, which stands for new model. So anytime that Louis Vuitton revamps or reintroduces a piece, on those little tabs that you get, they will have NM on there for new model. The pochette was one of them because you guys know how I talked about the pochette and the differences on there. So great question. And that is what I noticed a lot of it. And when I talked to Pedro, he said, he couldn't wait for me to come in there. He's all, cause I know that you're going to coach me on some of the things of Louis Vuitton, just because I look at everything and I noticed it as soon as I held the bag. And it doesn't seem that the bag is any heavier, even though they added thicker canvas and they really reinforced the leather. So that's another plus. Okay. Tracy Wang, what are your thoughts on the Vivian bag? Also, do you prefer the LV or the S-Lock closure? And the Vivian bag is, and I wrote it down, it's 8.7 inches in length, 6.7 inches in height, and 3.5 inches in width. It's a very small bag, but you can carry this bag 4 different ways. You can carry it on the crook of your arm. You can carry it crossbody as a clutch or in your hand. And it's a very dainty bag. It has a one handle, and it retails for $24.50 here in the States. And there's 2 different closures that you can get. You can either get the LV initials on the front of the bag, or you can get the S-Lock, which is the one that you kind of hold down and it pops open. Personally, I prefer the LV initials. I don't know. Actually, I'm on the fence about it because the bag is very small and those letters look huge on the back. So I don't know if it looks kind of funky, maybe disproportionate. But I don't know. To be honest, I like the S-Lock closure, but I really like the fact that it has the LV initials. So I'm leaning more towards the initials. Maybe if the initials were a little bit smaller, I'd be a little bit happier. But I'd go for the initials. Okay. Darth Diva, what are your thoughts on the Empreinte Artsy? I absolutely love the Empreinte Artsy. I love the Artsy in general. And Empreinte leather, I have yet to add anything to my collection. avant-pront, but I think it is a beautiful bag. I know a lot of people say that it tends to get very heavy because it is an all leather bag. However, the leather, the look of it is just fantastic. I want that bag. I have my eye on that bag. It is definitely on my radar. But great question. Okay. Laura Greenfield, any knowledge when the new LV bags will come out and prices, especially the quilted boxy Louis Vuitton bags and the black canvas with a red monogram, which I know a lot of us have seen the pictures on the Purse Forum. What are your thoughts on those pieces? The quilted boxy Louis Vuitton bags, I haven't really paid attention to be honest. And the black canvas with the red monogram, I cannot wait to see that. Black, fantastic. Red, you guys know how I feel about red. And all it is just think of the regular LV. Here, think of this, but the dark brown is black and the LV logo, the monogram, is red. I think it looks fantastic, but then again, I don't know until I actually see it. But I'm excited because the clay has been all over the Purse Forum for a few months now, so I cannot wait to have it in my hand and actually hold it and see what it looks like. And then as far as LV bags and prices, you know what? To be honest, I don't really know because sometimes they come out at different times. But if you have a really, really good sales associate who really lets you know, that is the best way to get all of your info, especially on new pieces and prices, because they will have the little catalog way before they come out. And even they will offer you to purchase the bag, not purchase the bag, but put you on a list to buy the bag before it actually comes out. So I say get a really good relationship with a sales associate for that. Stylius. I want to add a Damier Azur to my collection and I choose Artsy MM and Damier Azur. What do you think about the purchase? Hands down, go for it. Oh my goodness. Like I said, I'm obsessed with the Artsy and I didn't used to be, but Damier Azur I absolutely love. I know a lot of people are a little iffy because of the color transfer issue, but trust me, you don't necessarily have to baby the bag. Just make sure you're not wearing very saturated dyes with your clothing and you'll be a-okay. But I love the look of Damier Azur. I think it's great. Especially the one thing I love the most about Damier Azur is the fact that when this beautiful leather patinas, the contrast of the patina with the Damier Azur is fantastic. So I say go for it. Excuse me. Okay, Floors SS, regarding storage. If I put them on open shelves like yours, near a window, would that be okay? A bit of sunlight hitting the bag, okay. And you guys haven't been able to see, but I actually have a huge window. It pretty much takes up half my wall on this side, and I also have a window on this side. Even though I have blinds, I have noticed, and this is why I brought this out. All of my bags are in dust bags. They always stay in dust bags. I wish I could be brave like my girl, Emily Clark. She leaves the bags out and they look fantastic on her shelf. But my OCD kicks in and I get super scared. So they're always in their dust bags. But I did notice, I don't always have my blinds open. And even you have to think that even if they're in their dust bags, they will start to patina. Case in point. my goodness, I'm having such a hard time. Do you guys see this little line right here? I don't know if it's going to be able to capture it. Maybe right there. Okay, do you see this line right here? This bag I have used seldomly since I purchased it. And when I tend to store my bag, I leave the handles as such. But even though it's in the dust bag and even though my blinds aren't always open, do you see that it's starting to patina? The fact that you can see the silhouette of the handle on the tab right here, I think it's fine. It's going to happen. It's a natural process anyways. Even if the sunlight doesn't hit it, it's going to patina, and I think that's okay. However, I don't like these lines. That doesn't make me happy. So what I have started to do, I actually tend to store it with the handles propping up. so that this doesn't happen. Because you could really, now do you see it? Because I can see it now. But it's fine. I actually think it helps speed up the process. It's going to happen anyways. Just make sure that you don't have the window, like if you have blinds like I do, or just try not to leave the window open. Like maybe if you have a curtain, that'd be great, or close the blinds, because you don't want it to have an uneven patina. So mine, as you can see, on one side is a little bit more noticeable than the other, and I'm very particular about how it patinas, and I want it to have a uniform patina. So just be careful on how much sunlight is actually hitting the shelf or the bags. That's a great question though. And when I do my storage video, I will be able to really go into depth about it. Okay. Nora, for your thoughts, which one would you prefer as a crossbody bag between the Pochette Matisse and the Palace chain? Well, the Matisse is $16.50 here in the States, and the Palace chain is $22.60 here in the States as well, obviously here in the States. And if I had to choose between the two, hands down, I would pick the Palace chain, because even though the Pochette Matisse I like, it's a very simple bag. It's just the monogram canvas. It's about this small, and you can, like she said, you can wear it crossbody. However, the Palace chain, you can pick the different color that's on top. The chain part, it's kind of like an oversized Chanel walk. It is absolutely beautiful. I love this bag. And even though it retails for $22.60 here in the States, as I said, I think it's, oh my goodness, I cannot get enough about the bag, especially the chain detail, the top part. I think there's so much going on, but it's not overwhelming. It just seems extremely classy to me. So I say go for it. Okay. And then I really like this question. She said, if you only have $1,500 on hand, not more, not less, which LV bag would you purchase? Hands down, I would pick the Totally MM. And the bag retails for $1,430 here in the States. And I absolutely love the bag. It's very similar to a Neverfull, only it has a zipper closure on the top. It is a tote. It has 2 pockets on either side, and it has enough pockets on the inside as well. But I think it is a beautiful bag. I think it's very versatile. You can use it for so many different aspects of your life, and it still has a great price point, $14.30 here in the States, especially before the price increase, because who knows when that will happen. I have no idea, because last time we checked, remember, they said October. It is now January, and still nothing. Which, like I said before, I'm not complaining, but we know it's going to happen. And sometimes those canvas bags have quite a jump as far as price increases go. But I say the Totally, I think it's fantastic. I think everyone who has the Totally, they love that bag. So I say Totally MM. Great question. And then Nishka Chowski, I'm sorry. I bought a pre-loved multicolor cosmetic pouch in white. Congratulations. The zipper area is a little dingy. How can I clean this? Is this fabric just uncoated canvas? I'm thinking light detergent with water. Oh gosh, no. No detergent whatsoever. And what you're talking about, if I'm not mistaken, is actually the fabric between the zipper teeth. And what I did, don't take any harsh chemicals to it, because this canvas is coated canvas and you never know how it will react to it. What I ended up doing, I actually took a dry white cloth, and I took a damp wet cloth. And all I did is I kind of just dabbed on here a little bit, tiny bit, and I was able to take a lot of the dinginess off. I had a problem with my Damier Azur wallet. I had the same thing, and all it is just fabric, textile. Is it textile lining fabric? I don't even know, but it is fabric, and all you want to do is just dab it gently and it'll come off. And at one point I did use, even though I said no harsh chemicals, I did use Dawn, the dish soap, because it's great for other things besides dishes, and it was able to remove some of that off. So I say try the water first, the warm water. If not, be very gentle when you try, if you want to, do the Dawn. because you don't want to use any harsh chemicals whatsoever. Okay, and I'm almost to the very end. Jess says, I love your hair color. Is it your natural color? Would you ever change it? This is not my natural hair color. Thank you so much for the very kind words. This is not my natural hair color. My natural hair color is actually a lot lighter than this. And I have changed my hair color a ton of times. I've had my hair platinum blonde, blonde, strawberry blonde, without the intention of strawberry blonde, black. I've had so many different colors, but it's extremely light, as you can see. But I think I would want to change it again, because as I age, there are certain, weeds that come out in my hair, gray hairs, that are a little bit more noticeable with the darker hair. So maybe if I go a little bit lighter, it'll be a little bit harder to notice. But thank you so much for the kind words. Okay. Hello Kitty 0518. I heard Epi leather flattens out over time. Is this true? The ripple-like design smooths out, does it? And I know exactly what you're talking about. Epi leather has the very textured, so like this, the coated canvas, obviously you can see the little pebbles. The Epi leather has those ripples to the texture of the leather, and yes, I know what you mean. They tend to flatten out a little bit because you have to remember it is still leather. So the more you use it and the more you interact with it, it will start to look a little bit different. Kind of like canvas, the more you use it, it starts to get a little bit shinier. So yes, it's normal. I know in a lot of older pieces, it's very noticeable to the point where the texture isn't as noticeable, the little markings on it. But I don't know as far as if they've revamped Epi leather, if it started to wear a little bit different nowadays. So we will have to see. But yes, it is normal. And yes, it does happen. Great question. All right. I have 2 more questions left. Elva Pelayo. I am looking into getting a black, more dressy bag. Some of the bags I was drooling over. The Alma PM in black Epi. The black Brea MM in Epi. The black Montaigne in Empreinte. Or the black Prada Luxe Tote. Any thoughts or suggestions? I thought I was going to say the Alma PM in black Epi. However, hands down, do the black Montaigne in the Empreinte leather. I think it is a beautiful bag. My girl Belinda just did an unboxing on it. It is a fantastic bag. The look of the gold tone hardware with the black, even though in Empreinte I do like the Aurore, I do still like the Noir. I think it looks fantastic. The look of the leather, I just cannot get over it, and it is a beautiful bag. So I say go for that one. Okay, so the very last question that I have is from my fabulous friend Connor Layton. He had recently purchased an Hermes belt, and he was having a little bit of buyer's remorse. So his question is, how do you deal with buyer's remorse, or how do you overcome it? And that is a great question. The way that I see it is, you guys have seen me. I have buyer's remorse sometimes like crazy. So I very seldomly like to impulsively buy things. I really like to do my research on items. And the best way that I can describe it as far as overcoming it is, if you take an item, and actually there's 2 different ways to look at it. If you take an item and okay, so when you take 2 items into account, there's 2 different ways for you to look at it. The way that I see it is, are you going to use the item and to be able to justify the price? That is a huge thing for me. I am not rich. I am not a millionaire. So I just can't buy things at the drop of a hat. And it takes a lot of hard-earned hours at my job for me to get these items that I really, really like. So if I'm going to get something just because it's the in thing to get, that's the wrong reasoning for me to get it. So that's why I do a ton of research on it. As I said before, when I do impulse shopping, sometimes impulse shopping is the best. However, when we're talking, certain like handbags, if I don't do my research on it, I will end up purchasing a bag, and then I might like it in the moment, But a few weeks later or after I've used it, I'm just like, oh my goodness, this is so uncomfortable. I don't like this about it. And why? Because I didn't do my research. So that's how I tend to, first and foremost, how I decide to shop. But to fully answer your question, how I overcome it, as I said, there's two ways to look at it. If it makes you happy, if you have the funds for it, buy it. Buy it. You don't want to think of something later on and say, man, I wish I should have bought that. That's why sometimes I like to buy things and know that I have them and I can decide whether or not I like them instead of thinking I wish I would have been able to get it. On some things, I'm not talking some of these crazy expensive bags. But on other things, you have to really look at the price tag. Is it worth the investment that you're putting on in the item? If you're going to use it, if you're going to utilize it, I say go for it. If it's something that you're just getting just because, I think that's where buyer's remorse starts to kick in. So that's a major, major, major fact. But I mean, honestly, the best help that I have had, thank goodness, has been, there have been two people in my life who have helped me tremendously. The first one is my mom. Anything that I've ever purchased, I always show her. And she can always tell by my reaction when I'm showing her if I really like the item or if I was being very impulsive. And another person is my husband. I told you guys I'm extremely indecisive. So when I sit there and I'm looking at, I'm looking at an item, I say, if I sit there and I'm like, well, I don't know. Well, it has this and it has this. If it has this, and I start making excuses for it or I start justifying it, it already doesn't feel right. So that means that when I do end up actually getting to wear the item, I already have that in the back of my head that, oh, I didn't like this or, oh, I didn't like that. Instead of just buying the item and saying, oh my goodness, I love this. I can't wait to use it and done. So when you have that doubt, always go with your gut instinct. You know what I mean? Like I said, don't buy things just because it's the cool thing to do or it's the right, or whatever it is. But then again, in the same token, I really do believe that people can spend their money on whatever it is they want. If it makes them happy for 5 minutes, then so be it. So it's kind of a catch-22. I really believe in both things. I've had some things in my life where I pass on something and then I'm constantly thinking about it and constantly going, I should have bought it. I should have bought it. I should have bought it. And I just keep driving myself crazy. So then when I finally do end up buying the item in the first token and I don't have buyer's remorse, I just have to think, you know what? I have the money for it. I work hard for it. I'm going to buy it because I like it. Done. End of story. So like I said, there's two different ways to view it. So you're either one person or the other. Unfortunately for me, I think both ways. So I'm constantly trying to outweigh the scales. But as I said, when you have just that shadow of doubt in you where you think you might, it just doesn't feel right, I would say maybe pass on it or think about it a little bit longer. Let me just give you guys a brief, super short story. If we go shopping, I tend to be the person that goes to the very first store and I fall in love with something. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to have it. I have to have it. Oh my God, I want it. Not like that, but I'm just giving you guys an example. So then I'll tell my husband, I'm like, well, what do you think? Do you like it? He always tells me, well, why don't you look around first and see if you really like it, come back to it. If not, you might find something else. Okay, awesome. So we leave the store. I'm browsing other shops. Hours go by. Hey, it's time to go home. We're in the car. And I sit there and all of a sudden, if we're driving, he starts to tell me, Minnie, don't do that. Because I'll go, he'll go, what? What's the problem? And I'll say, oh, I forgot about the shoes or I forgot about the handbag. I totally forgot about it. And he tells me always, well, I guess you didn't really like it or you didn't really need it. Perfect example. That means I was in the now. I was obsessed with it and I ended up forgetting about it. And I can guarantee you with the type of person that I am, I would buy it. I'd play with it for a second and then I'd leave it. So obviously, I don't want to spend my hard-earned cash or my hard-earned money on things to just sit there. I want to be able to really use them and really enjoy them. So that's just a little story for you guys as far as how I think. And I really do think buyer's remorse ties into that. But that is a great, great question, Connor. Thank you so much. Okay, and I also have one more question. I know I thought I was done. I have one left, and it is from Disney Mark. And he asks, have you ever willingly, or am I reading this right? Sorry. My eyes are playing tricks on me. Have you willingly purchased a replica to your knowledge, or have you bought one before? Okay, so as far as replicas go, that is another great question. In the past, when I first started this journey into luxury goods, I will admit I had a problem, especially buying off of eBay with replicas, because I was new to the labels, and I didn't really know. I had no idea. All I knew is that I went on eBay and I found something and I liked it, and I didn't really pay much attention to the price. Like I said, I didn't know. It was like a course, a Dummies 101 or Louis Vuitton 101, a course for dummies. That was me. And I learned trial by error. I had a ton of horrible experiences on eBay. I ended up purchasing replicas not on purpose. It was unbeknownst to me. And I had to open up cases. The sellers gave me back my money, and on some cases I had to ship the item back, which I was not happy with because shipping is not cheap. I just had horrible experiences. And there has been quite a bit of buzz as far as replicas go, especially on Instagram. And the way that I see it, I am against replicas. Not because I think you should buy the $2,000 bag. Not at all. I just don't like what the meaning behind the replicas is, such as terrorism, child labor, sweatshops. When I buy something from Louis Vuitton, I know that the people that are making the bags are getting, the proper amount of wages for them. You know what I mean? It's not a young person. It's not a very young child making something. And that to me that really hits home, because I don't want to go out there and I don't want people to think that, oh, you just want people to buy, real bags because you think that you're better than everybody else. Not at all. It's the meaning behind the replica that I'm not for. I think I would rather buy a no-name $20 bag and rock that bag and know that it's just a regular bag and people are getting their wages worth, instead of buying a knockoff and supporting all these other, all these heinous crimes behind it. So that's the way that I see it. And I don't want to judge anybody as far as I have a replica. Not at all. To each their own. I'm not here to judge. But this was a question that was asked to me, and that's how I feel about replicas. And yes, I have been swindled quite a bit on eBay. So that's why I kind of delved into detail about it prior, when I did the how and where to buy pre-loved, ask questions and stuff like that, because I wouldn't want someone to go through the same thing that I have. And luckily, I have been very blessed in life to be able to purchase these items from the boutiques or from the store or from legitimate sellers, and I am forever grateful for that. But as far as replicas go, I'm against it for those reasons. So hopefully people don't take offense to it, but that's how I sincerely feel. But anyways, that is all I have for you guys. Thank you guys so much for all the wonderful questions that I got from you. And make sure and leave me your comments down below, and I will make sure and see you guys probably later this week. I'm going to try to. I always try to make 2 videos a week. But anyways, that's all I have, and I will see you guys later this week. And as always, make it a fabulous day or not. The choice is yours. Have a great day.